And you can go ahead and let everyone in.
All right. We'll give everybody a couple of seconds to join. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get us kicked off. Thank you all for being here. We're very, very excited to have you. I will be your moderator and technical support. My name is Antonio Gomez from the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support. I want to start off by saying we welcome all questions. Please post them in the chat or in the Q&A function. We will get to them. This webinar will be offering closed captioning as well, so feel free to have that on. We will also be recording this webinar, and the recording of that will be available on Apprenticeship Illinois, and we'll send you an email to let you know. So to get us kicked off, I'm going to send us over to Jen Foyle.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Like Antonio said, this is a little bit different from the most kickoffs we have. Usually when we have a kickoff with our new grantees, we get into logistics of grant and how you manage a grant. Those slides and information will be available to you offline, and you have your grant manager, Chase Martin, to contact at any time. But really, we did want to make this a conversation. We are going to talk about components of the grant itself some, but we really want this to be interactive, and we do appreciate any hand, raise your hand, put things in the chat, or even interrupt us as we go, because we would love this to be an interactive presentation. And it's kind of hard via webinar, especially when I'm just blowing through slides. So please, you're welcome to participate. And just quickly, we're going to go over the state vision and our progress, how we really want to elevate the apprenticeship specialist role over the next 3 years that we have left on the state apprenticeship expansion formula funds through the U.S. Department of Labor. Identify areas of where we can support you, and show you our planned activities, and just a call to action also. But with that said, oh yeah, here, I'm going to hand this over to Antonio now.
Absolutely. So to get us started, we're going to do a few polls. If you have any questions about how to run a poll, go ahead and put it in the chat. I can help you out. But I'm going to launch our first poll. All right. Who's online? Let us know who you are.
Oh, the results are coming in, Antonio, from our poll.
Yeah, they are.
We have a really good mix here, so we appreciate everyone being here. Yeah, it's okay that I go ahead and end the poll?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm going to go ahead and share the results. And it looks like is everybody able to see the results? We've got a few LWIB members. Interesting. We've got a few. Let me just take a screenshot of this and I'll post it in the chat so everybody can see this and it's not just.
How about I stop sharing? Would that work?
We can see it now.
I can see it now. Yep.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we've got a few LWIB directors, a few business services, a few other staff, apprenticeship specialists, and others. So thank you all for being here.
All right. With that said, I have the pleasure of introducing Daniel Sirota. Daniel is the chair of the Illinois Workforce Innovation Board's Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship Committee. He's also the Vice President of Government and Public Affairs at AON, and he is the co-founder of the Chicago Apprentice Network. He's a pleasure to work with, so I'm going to actually stop sharing for just a second, and then I can share some screenshots, some presentation for you, Daniel, but I want to turn it up to Daniel. Antonio, can you make it where Daniel's?
Thanks, Jen, for looping me in and being a part of the conversation today. And to start off, first off, I want to say thank you to all of you for your continued commitment to apprenticeship across the state. I think what I am most excited about with apprenticeship is it's continued to grow. It's continuing to become more of a household name, not just with labor unions more broadly in the traditional space of apprenticeship, but also thinking creatively and innovative around apprenticeships in the non-traditional space like we've never seen before. when I first came into the apprenticeship space, I really started to dig in when I was at Aon in 2016 when we launched the Chicago Apprentice Network. Everyone looked at us and said, "What? You're going to go hire from a community college? What? You're going to bring in 18 to 21-year-olds into a corporation and really change the game?" And we said, yes, 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 right? And the success what we have seen at Aon has been tremendous. The growth of apprenticeship within the Chicago Apprentice Network, we're now up to 120 companies that are continuing to grow and continue to change the way they're looking at hiring. And my goal for the state is to continue to find ways to elevate there, find partners, find associations, but also your role in being an apprentice specialist on this call is only going to help us get to those employers, make it easier for them to be able to connect the dots, and really make it something where year over year, this is now part of their workforce strategy. They're going to look for collaboration. They're going to look for partnerships. They're going to look at different trade associations and others to also bring in. Because if they're leading and doing this, they're also going to want their competitors to do it too. They're going to want to make it where there's this transferable opportunity of roles where this becomes the new normal. This becomes something that we live with as individuals go to high school for work-based learning programs, go to community colleges potentially for apprenticeship programs, and are going to be thinking about this as potential opportunities for them as a career path moving forward. When I first came to the apprenticeship committee more broadly, I felt like we were all over the place. And I think we now have a little bit more of a clearer direction of who are the best spokespeople, who are people that we need to be able to engage with, but also the broader vision is to expand, is to grow, and is to educate. We decided really add work-based learning as a part of the apprenticeship committee because it is an important vehicle to educate where we are going in regards to the high school lens of education. I am proud to announce on this call, we do have a new co-chair of the Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship Committee, Steve Lefevre, who is also on the call, who is going to add great insight into how we are going to be able to move forward in the work-based learning space. He's been helping lead a lot of the work-based learning vertical that we've been really focused on. And we're going to be putting out a broader report on kind of where the state is today, but also where the future is going to be going. Because I do believe there are policy recommendations that are definitely needed to really enhance it, make it better. But also we want to lead this for the country. We want Illinois to be known as really the leaders and drivers of innovation around apprenticeship, as well as work-based learning of the future. Jen, do you want to go to the next slide? We did create a 5-year plan. Jen, I think we're on year 2 of that. I think we continue to enhance the 5-year plan. The more ways we can coordinate and expand services to apprenticeships is so critical in different areas. I see Justin Arnold is on this call too, who's a great leader down in Champaign, doing a ton of work around apprenticeships. The more and more we can continue to find those types of individuals, elevates, talk about those stories, highlight those industries, and really make sure we're hitting it from across the board is really, really important. One of the best things that I think we're going to do more of and continue to elevate more, and which is part of this, is really highlighting the apprentices in their journeys, right? Where are they going within the apprenticeship and where's the end result? Because those stories and those narratives can help the apprentice specialist really think about their talk track, why apprenticeship is important for small business, for mid-sized businesses, industries across the state, and really elevating those stories, having those case studies, and playbook to really have those conversations more broadly. Jen, can you go to the next one? I think this story tells it all, right? So the active apprentices in 2016 were 14,000. Year over year, we're continuing to grow. And that is done because of the specialists that are on the call. But I also think it's part of a broader journey that this is becoming a new normal. Now, I do think we can continue to grow it a little bit at a quicker pace. I think we will. I think time will tell about that based off things that are happening in the workforce space more broadly. And I think apprenticeship is going to be a tool in that toolbox for employers to really look at and utilize and create programs. And I'm excited to see about the future and kind of where that goes directionally. I think as a state, and Julio Rodriguez is on too, like we're ready. I think we're ready to be able to implement. I think we're ready to collaborate and partner. And I'm excited for the future of the Work-Based Learning Committee, but also for the opportunity for the state to innovate and continue to grow. Jen, is there another slide?
That's
that
it. I was wondering if,
I don't know, Jen, if you have
Julio,
anything else you want me to add or discuss today, but I'm happy to dig in.
and I was just wondering if Julio Rodriguez would like to say anything around this as well.
No, other than, I want to always thank Daniel for his leadership, Jen, you and Antonio and John and others of the staff, just for all the work you all are doing. But I think just to echo what Daniel said is we are leading in the country. And I think we want to not only continue to do that, but we want to far exceed what the expectations are. And I think on behalf of both Director Richards and Andrew Warrington, the chairs of the IWIB, as well as the governor and the governor's office, I think we have a lot of support for the work that's going on here. And I think the direction is just to continue to go up and continue to grow. So thanks to all of you. And I'm just here to listen, and I'll add wherever I think is necessary. Thanks.
Thank you, Julio. Thank you, Daniel. And now I'm going to hand it over to John Barr.
All right, great. So on the next slide, just kind of outlines everyone, all of the official grantees under this round of funding. But I want to emphasize that just because a local area isn't listed here and isn't funded per se, doesn't mean we don't want you in the umbrella. We think every local area and partner should be a part of this initiative, whether you're directly funded as a specialist or not. So to the extent that we can spread that word, please do that with your colleagues. On the next slide, we just talk about all of the, I guess, where we're at. We're right in the middle, right? So we have a solid foundation, as we've seen from our numbers, right? But here's our challenge, and we're going to lay out a challenge today as how do we go from this plateau up to the next level, because apprenticeship is really going to be in the spotlight, and we have the foundation to take it to the next level, and you are a big piece of this initiative. So on the next slide, we talked about our opportunity here, right? So we see and are all aware of the federal landscape and looking at programs and looking at their effectiveness. And we have a critical argument to be made around the effectiveness of apprenticeships and our bottom line impact numbers. And so we look at not only with apprenticeship expansion funds, but also with other workforce development and education funds in the importance and emphasis of including registered apprenticeship and work-based learning models into our core workforce services. So who are the experts that is going to help, that will help lead the system? It is you. It is you as apprenticeship specialists who have the technical abilities and understanding of especially the complex WIOA world and the education world, community college, and I know we want to even bring it down to secondary, the high school level, right? A middle school level, right? How do we do it, right? How do we make those connections? Those are challenges that we are pointing to you with the support of the apprenticeship committee, with the support of the state level partners. And so again, we're looking at expanding our footprint and moving to the next level. On the next slide, let's talk about, so what are the core expectations? And this is really the level set across. You should all, especially those that have been here for the first couple of years, apprenticeship specialists are embedded in integrated business services team. We want to double down on that. We want to double down on how you are integrated with our economic development specialists as well as your overall regional teams. We want to double down on coordination. We want to double down on impact and the expansion, not only of registered apprenticeships, but building that pipeline of work-based learning opportunities, starting from that career awareness all the way to the gold standard of registered apprenticeship. And so our challenge to the specialists in this next round and moving forward is to own the coordination, elevate the service standard, and maximize the impact. Next slide. So we have a question. And this is, do you feel like your regional partners either understands your role as an apprenticeship specialist or that your local area provides these services? And I think this is a poll. Is that right?
Yeah, I think Antonio, you can put up a poll.
Absolutely. Let me get that launched. This is the correct poll, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, the answers are coming in.
Great.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll
And the
and share
poll.
the
Okay.
results.
So looks like we've got a majority in the somewhat and the not really. And so that is challenge one as it relates to your partners, your education, your economic development partners, your workforce partners, is to make you known as the subject matter expert around apprenticeship and a go-to resource in this area. We want a year from now, we want that poll to be, we want to see that 70%, 80, 90, 100%. We want to see yes, absolutely, in the next year. So add that on everyone's to-do list. On the next slide, we want to just also not forget about, looking at how we got here and looking at opportunities of scale, looking at your local and regional workforce plans and understanding what is driving your employment opportunities in critical sectors, right? So it is looking at targeting those activities in those industry sectors and supporting those industry sector strategies that is going to support your core industries. And so why it matters here, looking at those skill gaps, aligning apprenticeships with your regional economic goals and those critical sector needs. And again, our role is for the experienced team, making sure you're plugged into the regional sector strategies and becoming the go-to expert, going beyond employers, engaging education, workforce, and economic development. So really supporting that sector approach where it goes from the kind of that one-on-one, one-offs to more of a system infrastructure approach. I think the next slide has our next question. And this is actually one to throw out to get your sense, because we want your feedback as well. It's not just us as, hey, go out and run, but we'd be interested in this poll. And then also open it up for discussion as well, if you want to add some more context to this. So as you answer the poll and go ahead, I think the poll is open. Also, feel free to unmute yourself and add some quick thoughts. Okay, so looks like we've got looks like time constraints, misaligned priorities, um, lack of clarity around roles. So looks like those were the uh, top three issues here. So again, this is important feedback for us as we can look at um, what are some tools, and if y'all have ideas you want to come off mute and talk about those. But we're interested in how we can be more effective in working with the integrated business service team. So any thoughts on this?
Oh, we have a hand up, Victor.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So one of the things that we have encountered here on our region is the alignment between our business service tools and apprenticeship. Especially when we're trying to do as many of the business services that we have, such as the ITAs, the OJTs, and potentially the incoming worker training. Sometimes the timing doesn't work because um, the timing of the apprenticeship process itself. So I just want to point that out. I don't know if any other regions are experiencing something similar, but we're looking into how to streamline that process so we can include it in the apprenticeship work we're doing in our area.
That's a great point. And I would ask anybody else, do you have similar challenges, or have you actually used like IWTs with your apprenticeships yet? We'll definitely take a note, Victor.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's and we'll also have another opportunity here for additional feedback. But want to talk just again, just to wrap up my part of this is looking at raising the bar. So again, as we at DCEO and working with Julio and our director and the leadership, we outlined in this funding notice that we're raising it to the next level, right? So we want, your leadership is essential. We want you to own the program, own the apprenticeship space, building a seamless system. Again, promoting the no wrong door approach, right? So if they're interested in apprenticeship, maybe it doesn't, so as Victor said, maybe it doesn't land as a registered apprenticeship. Maybe they start as, just an OJT or a work experience or job shadowing or wherever they are at on the work-based learning pipeline, right? There's no wrong door. We want to build the system, and we know that takes time and effort. Nate Carlson, I know, has done a great job with our team in trying to capture those activities as like kind of work in process. And hopefully the investment will pay off over that time. But the key to that is to follow through relentlessly, right? And those leads, those initial seeds only will grow if you follow up and you feed and water, and make it happen, right? So to that end, we're challenging everyone to over communicate, talking about opportunities, talking about the program, talking about the impacts, talking about what could be. And obviously with that, closing the loop, knowing that, again, not to walk on eggshells all the time, but also knowing that missed handoffs and things that fall through the cracks can have damage on not only you, but also the system as a whole. And again, treating, I guess our bottom line, and then we'll move to the last question, is that we really are looking for everyone to set the bar high and then raise it to the next level in year 4 and 5 when we're here for these next rounds. And so I'm going to wrap up with one final question. If go ahead.
Hold on, we have a hand raise.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Julio Rodriguez.
Thanks, Jen. One thing, because Victor, you triggered this for me. One of the things to keep in mind when you're thinking about apprenticeships, and pre-apprenticeships, because we shouldn't forget that one way to to also sort of create that pipeline is to think about pre-apprenticeships, whether in secondary, but even thinking about it with adults, looking at the reentry population, other populations that may not be able to go into a full apprenticeship, and what are the resources that a local workforce area can use to be able to do that. The other thing that's really critical is that you align your efforts with the talent pipeline management. Almost every single local workforce area now has somebody who's been trained in talent pipeline management. And so to Victor's point, sometimes you don't, if you come at everything just from the apprenticeship lens, you're going to miss opportunities to really engage employers throughout the spectrum. So part of the talent pipeline is not to use the sort of one-off approach, but really pull employers from a sector and really concentrate about their whole pipeline. So yeah, apprenticeship might be something down the road, but a good entree working with the business services teams is to do OJTs, to do some ITAs, to do some customized training. But the idea is that you look at your work within a continuum and within an ecosystem. Because the goal here is not to try to do one employer at a time, but how do you maximize a sector and think about how do you actually begin to create a much stronger ecosystem with a sector-based approach. And the other thing I would say to that is, and we have resources that can be made available locally to help you support that. And that's where the business services teams and you all as apprenticeship specialists are really should be see each other as one team and not I have a set of goals and you have a set of goals and they're not mutually exclusive. They really are complementary and you need to continue to think that way. And however we can support that, we want to be able to do that. But it's up to you all in terms of looking at this from a very different mindset. We are not job developers. I hate that term. You are not a job developer. You are an ecosystem builder. And part of your strategy is using apprenticeships to build that ecosystem, along with the other things in the toolkit that exists within each local area. So whether it's on-the-job training, customized training, specialized training, everything that you have at your disposal is right there, but you have to be able to engage it and understand it. So I just want to emphasize the connection between TPM, the talent pipeline management strategy, the apprenticeship work, and the business services teams, and all the things that we offer within a local workforce area. All of those things are part of your toolkit, and you should utilize them and access them regularly. So thanks for that opportunity.
And I just want to call out Caroline Portlock. Caroline, do you mind saying what you put in the chat?
No, and actually it's kudos to John and Essence who are also on the call, but really they use our other tools as an opportunity to open the door for apprenticeships. So we don't go in and talk about apprenticeships. we invite them to be a part of a hiring event. We have an OJT with them and talk about how an apprenticeship can be the next step in that. And, it can be a much easier conversation after you have a relationship with that company and they see, the proof is that we have assisted them in developing their workforce ecosystem and then what we can continue to help them with through apprenticeship opportunities.
Thank you for that. Yes, and kudos to John Hall. All right, John Barr, here, let's
All right,
see.
great. So I think our last part of this section is just again just following on those themes, and if you have some thoughts you want to share at this moment, that'd be great. So how can the state and the work-based learning committee support you with integration? So if you had thoughts now, great. If not, think about that and let us know.
I think, Antonio, you have a poll. Maybe we just put it up, see if anyone. Meanwhile,
yeah.
Mike Baker has his hand up. Mike?
Yes.
Sorry, Antonio.
Hi, thanks. Hey, just building on what Julio mentioned, if anyone is interested in continuing the conversation on talent pipeline management or kickstarting a talent pipeline management employer collaborative in your local area, please let me know and we can continue that conversation and potentially provide some intensive technical assistance to help you move that effort forward. So I'll put my email in the chat pod. If anyone has any interest or questions, please let me know and we'll talk it through.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so anything come to mind? How can the Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship Committee and or the state support you all? So it looks like the poll is up. We're doing these, what do you call them, pregnant pauses, so that you all have a chance to raise your hand, speak out, put it in the chat.
Next time we'll plug in the Jeopardy music.
And this is an 01 time. We welcome constant feedback because we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think for me is like having some sort of consistent documentation across the state or across all the LWIAs, just so starting off, we don't have to like think about like if we're creating our own contract or creating our own MOU, we're not kind of like starting from scratch per se, like having something that someone from the state level or another LWIA that has been a good example, just to have access to that and be able to shape all of our documentation off something like that, I think would be a huge help on our end.
That's good. Thank you. Antonio, how do you, it looks like 4 people
It looks
or
like we've
5
got,
have answered.
5
How
people.
do you
Do people need a little bit more time to write? Because I know that this is a more of a paragraph.
do?
Raise your hand if you need a little bit more time to type. If not, I can go ahead and end the poll and we can share results. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, ending the poll. All right. Let's share the results. And then, apparently it's not going to show for you guys, but I'll go ahead and read these comments. I'm going to stop sharing. Sorry, got to move some stuff out of the way. Forums was a big one. Helping with these types of meetings so we can effectively build our local ecosystems was another one. I think state TPM gathering with the LWIAs would be great, a great boot camp opportunity, including all of our ecosystem partners in our respective regions. Detailed training and consistency across all LWIAs was another one. Consistent documentation across the state. So again, another forums situation. And then the last one is statewide marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
That's fantastic. Yes. And again, this wasn't your only chance. You'll have all of our emails. You can constantly contact us about it. So. All right. That's me. We're moving on to just a review of the elevated program elements that you all noticed in this. We ought to notice that you had to address in your application that we haven't had before. But this goes down to what John Barr was saying earlier about taking it to the next level, about doubling down. And we believe this is how we get there. And we'll do this year, but build on it because we have at least 2 more years of USDOL funding to continue this. So John has said this, but be the go-to regional expert. So seriously, this year, I think you're going to hear it from us over and over, is ownership is the big thing. We want you to own it and lead it in your region. And so it's not just you learning about this and understanding it, but you're bringing everyone in your region along with you. So know your region, build the network. Again, just emphasizing what John had said, drive, and even Julio, drive lasting impact. So you're embedded, you're going to be empowered, or you are empowered, and we want you to be essential to everyone in your area. So organizational commitment and role integration is key. So they must be fully supported and deeply integrated into the business services team, aligned with your regional priorities. So I know that everyone has regional priorities, understands, what the trends are in your region and how apprenticeships can fit in there, and just position yourself as just the trusted guides. And so we're trying to make it a core service, apprenticeship and work-based learning, not an afterthought. But this is going back to what Daniel's saying, is like we want it to be the new norm. And I love, Caroline, how you and John Hall had said about bringing it, that you lead with what you already offer. And apprenticeship is just part of that, and bringing them along in it and building the ecosystem with the other things you already offer. So employer engagement and program development, that's always been forefront for the apprenticeship specialists. But we want to make sure that you are there from first contact to program launch. It's not that you're handing them off to the DOL ATRs. We saw earlier this year, just with the uncertainty with the new administration, that we're not always sure what's going on. So it's important that we do own and understand and know how to do all of this. So you're not just connecting people to the DOL apprenticeship training reps. You are actually doing the work yourself as well. And Nate is a fantastic trainer on here. You're going to find out you have tons of resources. If you don't know how to do that, Nate can help you. So we're leading employers not just from interest, but to implementation. We also know this is a long game. That goes back to what you're saying, Victor, too, sometimes the timing. But you're always, it is a long game. You're building as you're going. And a lot of times we start with the lower hanging fruit, but we co-own those programs. We stay engaged and ensure they're thriving. So again, collaboration is impact. So we ask that Daniel talked about the Chicago Apprentice Network, and it's easy to say, well, it was easy for them because there are so many businesses up there and things of that nature. But everyone can create their own network that builds into an Apprenticeship Illinois network. So we ask that you are building that network in your region. Power of the group, other people in your region are an extension of you, because there's no way you can be everywhere at one time. But if you give them the right message and they know how to refer people, then you've just educated people and allowed them to help create a bigger impact through referrals and through messaging and through bringing and your network. Professional development and capacity building. So, we want to offer as much to you all as possible, but also we know that you all know more than we do because you're the boots on the ground. So we ask that there be this peer learning as well, and that there be the peer learning not only in your region that you learn, but then you're bringing people along and you're educating them, but then you learn from your peers, and your peers are here. So we just ask that you be the regional expert, you help others in your region become those experts, and we've got resources built in throughout the state. And data tells the story. So, we use Illinois WorkNet to gather the data. They're enhancing it all the time, but we already know that within the Navigator tool, some of you who aren't as familiar with it, you will learn about the tool. But you can do it's integrated with Dun and Bradstreet's. You can research companies before you even talk to them. But we want you to bring that information in there so that we know what is going on and how many employers have been contacted and connected with. So like we ask that you put in businesses engaged and meaningfully engaged. This will give us an understanding. Once we get a few years of this data, we'll be able to better understand that maybe businesses by industry are different. It takes longer maybe to build an apprenticeship program with one industry versus another, or with one occupation versus another. So it's not just asking you to put in your information for information's sake. We actually want to use the data to drive impact. So it tells the story for us. And it's not just quantitative. All of the qualitative insights that are kind of hard to grab in a very black and white numbers tells our story as well. So I wish we could play the music or that sound from Mario, but we want you to level up. It's time to level up. Instead of just being having a role as a apprenticeship specialist, you are a regional force. You're building the impact. If we're going to get to these greater numbers, we're going to make it a part of our ecosystem, make it the new norm. It is you all, as John Barr said. So we have another question. Antonio, can we get your help here? So what are some challenges? So we want just to hear from you guys. What are some challenges you all have encountered expanding apprenticeships and work-based learning? So just anything, just start let us know here.
You also don't have to type this. You can just raise your hand, unmute yourself, have a conversation as well. Up to you.
Yes.
Nobody has any challenges. We've trained them perfectly already.
No, unfortunately, we have 5 challenges so far written.
Oh,
John,
it looks
I
like
see
John
that you're.
Hall has come off camera.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I could chat a little bit. I think, I mean, as you guys know, employer buy-in is always tough. It's easy to kind of get your foot in the door. And I guess I shouldn't say easy, but easier to get your foot in the door and kind of discuss the benefits of apprenticeship. And then up front, the employers are like, oh, yeah, that's great. That sounds awesome. We could definitely do something like this. But it's as you get going and you need to build a work process schedule and build it in standards builder and get them to sign the appendices and things like that. That's where I started to see some of our businesses fall off, or not necessarily fall off, but be like, hey, John, like it's just too busy right now. Like, can we open this back up in whatever month? And with the grant period, you don't know much about that next grant period, I should say. So there's a little bit of uncertainty there. So really just the employer buy-in from start to finish. It's easier to get your foot in the door, but keeping them involved throughout the whole build out was one of the challenges I saw for sure.
You are so right. I see Kathleen. It looks like Kathleen and then Sarah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with John. It's definitely a long game work scope, and it's time consuming, and you have to make sure that you're, earmarking. I have found that, by putting together like mini work groups with the cadence of meetings is a good way to do it. But it's time is a big element, in working with these employers, and us as well, just because and we are seeing momentum in LWS7 definitely. So it's a capacity thing, it's a staffing thing. But I think that, by being more structured, I have found in the projects that we're working on is the best way to do it, in these little mini project management work groups is a good way to do it. That way it's on, on their calendars, you keep it moving. You have to have that kind of process in place, to manage the project successfully.
That's good. Thank you. Sarah, I saw your hand got unraised. Do you still want to say something?
She kind of covered it. So I was just going to agree with the grant period is a challenge. So if you have a business come to you in April, that's likely going to be a tight timeline. I think we can, as apprentices, get everything in line, but there's work that that business has to do we can't do for them, and that it just makes it challenging.
This is good feedback. And yeah.
We've got some good feedback in the poll as well. The
Yeah.
big the big things that are coming to the forefront are employers not having enough funding for training, a lack of intermediary in a local area, moving from employer interest to implementation. Employers like the idea, but getting from that point to the implementation is a struggle. Uncertainty of DOL personnel was another one. Information needed about having the conversation to see us as trusted go-to persons in all groups was another one. Employers willing and able to participate to pay for education. Another one was suitable employees/candidates. Employer buy-in, tools to truly educate employers on the process. Companies not wanting to pay for education. Companies prefer unregistered apprenticeships. Staffing time and getting employers to commit. Employer coordination, agency participation, and internal support. We're seeing some trends here. Documentation and reporting is sometimes an issue with employers and other stakeholders. Then Kathleen, I see that your hand's raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to, you had already mentioned that, Antonio, but also the DOL situation with staffing, and not being able to, us having that capability to go in to the DOL standard builder, et cetera, and see it all the way through. Um, and then the up and down with, changes with their staffing levels, has been a barrier for us as well.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Kathleen. And you'll find that Nate has a thing scheduled to talk about Standards Builder later this month or early next month. And then also some things, because we do have a new DOL person that's approving the final approval. So we can get it all in Standards Builder, but it may come back, and we want to make sure once it's out of our hands, everything is in place so it lessens the time. And we're in constant contact with the DOL ATRs, and they're giving us hints and tips and things of that nature that we definitely want to pass along. This is all great feedback. Thank you all. Let's see what's next here. So some challenges that we had identified, aligning strategies among partners. Outreach requires a multifaceted skill set. You've got to know business, you've got to know workforce development, you've got to know education. So, and even within workforce development, people need to be sold on apprenticeship. So your partners that we're saying, oh, you need a network with all your partners. Well, some of them still need to be sold on it, of the value of why you would even talk about it. We do understand that data collection can be hard. And then, different partners have different services, models, and priorities. So aligning all of this. So these are just some that we came up with. Okay, another question. What are some lessons you have learned? So some of you have already kind of shared some of this, thank you, Kathleen, about like kind of structured and things, but yeah, what are some lessons you have learned? So I'm gonna just like pause for about 30 seconds, let anyone here speak up or put it in the poll. Anything that you could share with others. All right, Chuck. I see your hand up.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Yes, it is. Thank you. So I have a unique perspective on this, having been on the intermediary side before, and also doing some of the work that the specialist is supposed to do now. One of the difficulties I think that a lot of the specialists have run into, and one thing I've learned through the experiences that we've had here, is and we've struggled with getting from interest to, okay, let's do this, let's set up an action plan. I think you need to have the staff available to carry out those responsibilities effectively. What I've noticed being, from the intermediary side especially, is you can easily get spread very thin. You have a lot of, when you get that interest, when you start talking about apprenticeships, you market it to employers, and they're interested and they want to follow through. But then once you get into the weeds of, okay, here's how you do, here's how you set up your standards, here's what you're going to have to do to make it work. It's hard without that constant feedback and focus and interaction to really sustain that energy to keep it going toward implementation. So, I think, and I think this is part of what you're trying to address here with this grant. But to encourage, people to kind of focus business service teams' efforts on this specifically, instead of trying to spread everybody thin and say, well, like I can dedicate so much of my time to the week to working on apprenticeship. And that's where I think the employer inertia or their inertia takes over and the energy drops off because they're interested, they like hearing it, they're like, oh, these are good ideas, but then you don't have enough people to really do the constant follow through like you mentioned before. So that to me was a valuable lesson that we learned from really both ends of it, so to speak. That and also the collaboration, having, we had being, like I said, an intermediary myself, that collaboration between navigators, well, what used to be called navigators, specialists. Let me get the
Sorry about
terminology
that,
right.
Chuck.
That collaboration is very important because you can really sell this. But what I've found businesses want to know is, okay, I'm going to need help getting this started. Where can I get the money to do it? So having that coordination is really key.
Hmm. That's good. Thank you. That's fantastic. Tanya Cody Robinson, I saw you did have your hand up. Would you
Oh,
like to?
yes. Oh, yes. I was just saying that I totally agree with Chuck. That has been one of ours. So yes, just having that assistance and what we're looking at within our area, because we're assisting employers in building capacity, we're looking at building capacity within the realms of our workforce. What is our sustainability? How can we skill up in our area and create additional learning opportunities in the same realm that we're using for our business partners? So that has been a heavy lift for us, and we as seven is being the everything to everybody as we're getting all of this momentum, because it's great work. We see the forest before the trees, but it does take a lot of administrative support on the back end. So thanks, Chuck, for lifting that. I totally agree with him. Thanks.
Thank you, Tanya. That's good. And Antonio, can you run just quickly through the other things that came through?
Absolutely. One of the lessons is be patient. As we keep conversations moving, it's easy to hit a block when I call and call it over. I say try and stay in contact, even if it's a quick phone call. Next one was we have to attend meetings and sit on different committees to build levels in our region. We have an image only of the money people. We're working on changing it. The next one is work on entrepreneurial, and therefore specialists need to approach it from that standpoint. It's essentially sales. The next one is utilize current employers for references to hesitant new employers with success stories. The next one is working close with our educational partners will assist in expanding pre-apprenticeship initiatives. The next one is starting out a relationship with an employer using WEX or OJT. Makes it easier to have conversations about expanding into apprenticeships. Next one is in-person visits. In-person visits are a reliable way to get started with the company. Just make sure to follow up consistently, otherwise they will drop off. You have to complete and facilitate all you can for the employer to ease the burden. Have a business relationship with employers and other services such as hiring events or OJT is a great way to discuss apprenticeships as another option for employers. And the last one is we have to lead, take ownership, and follow through without expecting someone else to do it. What a good closer.
Thank you all for participating. I appreciate that. And again, we want to continue to learn from everyone's lessons learned. And so any way that we can elevate this, so our team can maybe package some of these and help get the word out, or that you all share it, reach out to each other. Please reach out to each other. And here's some just lessons learned we had identified in case nobody spoke. So employer hesitancy towards apprenticeship is reduced with comprehensive support. So they're more likely to go with it if they have more support. Leadership matters. We found that that apprenticeship that's expanding in different regions, the LWIA directors and their board members are bought into this, and so we see that it's flourishes where leadership is bought in and supports it, not just bought in. Ongoing professional development is needed at different levels, and we know that professional development isn't just from the state, but from peers, but also from outside experts. Relationships matter, and they take time to build. It's a consultative process. It's understanding sales, data analysis, policy, business models, economic trends, and apprenticeships are the long game. Thank you all for participating in that. Now I'm going to turn it over to Nate.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. It's 10:56. Everybody's coffee has now worn off, but I need you to hang in here with me because we've got about 10 slides left, and most of them are mine. So we're going to chug along through here, get you all some time back. Just don't go to sleep yet. So this slide, we wanted to provide...
Can I just say we did have 90 minutes set aside, but
Right.
We are getting here towards the end, so just hang in there, like you said. Yes,
absolutely. So my name's Nate Carlson. I think I know most people from overviewing the participants, but if not, I'm Nate, and I head up technical assistance for Apprenticeship Illinois. And so what this slide is kind of the rationale behind the programming, the events that we do. The main thing is that I am here as a resource for all of you, for the employers in your area, for any of your partners who maybe aren't getting it. My calendar is your calendar. I say that up front, and I invite you to fill it up. So we really want to ensure consistent messaging about registered apprenticeship across not all just those of you who are grantees under Apprenticeship Illinois, but also among all of our state and local partners, because those of you who do employer engagement on apprenticeship undoubtedly know there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of, well, apprenticeship is the same thing as an internship. And while that's another great workforce strategy that falls under our work-based learning umbrella, they are different things, right? So ensuring that consistent messaging is very important to us, since inconsistent messaging ultimately hurts our expansion efforts in the long run. We're here to empower you to effectively communicate about, develop, and submit registered apprenticeships to DOL for approval. That's been a big push with this year of the program, is making sure that everybody feels comfortable with not only doing outreach on apprenticeship, not only getting them from interest to investment, but also then having the tools and the skill set and the knowledge necessary to help them build and register that program. Because as we noted, that comprehensive support can help employers who may otherwise have fallen off get over the finish line with this. We want to promote best practices for high quality apprenticeship outcomes, recognizing that an apprenticeship that is not sufficiently training or isn't going to retain apprentices is a wasted investment on the part of the employer's time and money. We want to facilitate collaboration and peer learning across regions, which we've already today seen so much great insights shared from all of you here, and we'd like that to continue as we go throughout the program here. We're creating a library of localized tools and resources. We'll share some of those on the following slides, but just know that we continue to develop resources and do so based on the feedback we get from you. So if you're like, hey, we could really use something targeting this specific sector. Hey, we could use a one-pager that lays this out for employers. We would love to have that feedback so that we can help create those resources that you can use in the field and with your employers. We establish feedback loops for continuous improvement. Some of that involves the reporting in Illinois WorkNet. Some of that involves some of the check-ins we'll be doing throughout the year. And then really we're here to help you build a strong, connected, statewide apprenticeship network where everybody feels empowered to do referrals, to do outreach, and to build these programs, because we know they are the gold standard for work-based learning and some of the gold standard for workforce development, with the career mobility, economic mobility that these programs offer that we just don't see elsewhere. We can go on to the next slide. So our kind of flagship event is the annual Apprenticeship Boot Camp. And so we have a registration link coming very soon. So I ask you to be patient on that. It's going to be October 8th and 9th at Moraine Valley Community College in Palos Hills. We are charging a $50 registration fee this year so that we can provide you all with delicious lunch. Otherwise, it would have been PB&Js all around.
And coffee, I think, maybe.
Oh, and maybe even coffee. We'll see. Got to ask John Barr on the coffee. I don't know. But everybody is invited. So this is not just for apprenticeship specialists or even intermediaries. We invite any workforce stakeholders that you partner with, any members of your integrated business services team, anyone who maybe isn't currently engaged in an apprenticeship right now because they just don't know what they don't know. Send them an invite, send them the information. This event, last year, some of the feedback we got was like, just the networking from this was some of the best stuff we got. And so that really does continue to be true. So help make this a great networking event by bringing people to network with. Next slide. Drop-in office hours. I mentioned that my time is your time. First and foremost, we have our weekly drop-in office hours that are linked to directly from the Workforce Partners page on apprenticeshipillinois.com. I'm also available by appointment. Shoot me an email. These are open to grantees, employers, again, workforce stakeholders seeking guidance on developing, registering, or expanding an apprenticeship program. I'm happy to do initial employer consultations with you. If you feel pretty confident, but you just don't know if you have the answers to all the questions, I'm happy to just jump on and a buddy for support if there's anything I can help with. That's what I'm here for again. Next slide. I mentioned earlier we're developing and continue to have a library of printable resources and guides available to you. Those include our regional apprenticeship specialist process guide. We'll have actually a new and shiny version of that coming out pretty soon. Our program manual, which you'll also have access to soon, is going to be a very valuable resource. Some of the existing resources we have on apprenticeshipillinois.com on the Workforce Partners page include, one-pagers laying out the 7 components of registered apprenticeship, one-pagers explaining to employers how LWIAs and apprenticeship kind of coordinate with one another. We also have a great case study of one of my favorite programs, which was the Registered Nursing Apprenticeship Program at Clay County Hospital. A great resource for working with any healthcare employers who may be interested in that, and many more that we couldn't fit onto this slide. So please check out the Workforce Partners page of apprenticeshipillinois.com, which I thought was on the next slide, but I guess it's 2 down. In addition to that, we have some great marketing materials that many of you have already had access to or can have access to. There's some regional coordination for that, I know. But we have some incredible pop-ups. We have flyers. If you were at the Workforce Summit this past spring, you may have seen our setup. So there are multiple sets of that available. If you are doing career fairs or any employer-facing events, please coordinate to have those because they look great. You won't have an empty table. It's always sad when somebody has like the real flashy displays and then it's like, well, and we have some flyers, but not anymore because now we're going to have these shiny, incredible pop-ups to help spread the word about apprenticeship. Next slide. If I haven't said it enough already, apprenticeshipillinois.com is a resource hub for you as well as for employers. We have really spent a lot of time developing out the employer and workforce partner pages to make them a valuable resource. And so I invite you, if you have not already, to check that out.
Oh, and I asked Nate if I could do this one because I'm really excited. Some new things that we're going to do for you guys is we have a team that's working on the Rapids data, and they're putting together a dashboard. So we heard from many of you that you don't know what all is in your area because it's impossible to know everything that's going on, but we can use the Rapids data. We're putting together a dashboard so that you can see by county which registered apprenticeship programs are in your area, what the occupations are, who the training providers are, who the employers are that are participating in it. So that's coming soon. We actually have a prototype that's ready to be viewed, and we hope to have that live by the end of the month. We're going to be doing a monthly report to just allow visibility for everyone, and then you can learn from each other as well. So you can see what the metrics are, like employers engaged, programs development, programs in development, programs expanded, and then any kind of qualitative, like the ones that are in development, things that you're learning. So I'm going to put out a monthly report for you all to see how everyone's doing. We do have a comprehensive program manual that Nate started and put together a really good one. And now we have a new person on our team, Ivy Hood, who's on the call, and she's finishing that up for us right now. And then Nate's going to tell you about it, but we're going to have a planning event where we bring you all together to talk about different events that are going on, events that you would like to go on that we could help provide support. But then also we want to have just a master calendar of events of apprenticeship or work-based learning across the state. So we'll have that available for you guys. Back to you, Nate.
Thank you, Jen. This is our current schedule for our webinar series that's going to be beginning next week. Most of these are open to anybody in workforce development, or I guess just somebody who's interested in this. But so we're going to start off next week with our Apprenticeship 101. Many of you have attended before. It's a great refresher. It's great for, onboarding folks, or even if you just want to hear me talk for 90 minutes, that's great too. I can't imagine that many people fall into that category. We never know. As Jen noted earlier, we're going to have a session the following week, kind of going over standards builder tips, as well as some new guidelines that we've received from our ATRs about how we can kind of continue to expedite that process despite, ongoing changes. We're going to have a virtual cohort introduction because even though we made you talk today, we're going to make you talk some more, and also kind of work through, just making sure everybody feels comfortable with each other so that we can enable that collaboration across regions, so that we don't all just know each other as a face in a box we see every 2 or 3 months. We're going to have a technical assistance webinar for reporting about using the Illinois WorkNet Navigator tool August 6th with Dee Reinhardt. Because that is a previously existing scheduled meeting, we didn't have a registration link available for it, but you'll note that we have on the handout that gets sent out to you ICS links for your Outlook or whatever calendar. We have Yahoo. Put your hand up if you have a Yahoo email still. That's interesting. We're going to have a couple of great panels as well, including one on engaging employers and consultative sales. We recognize the importance of that. Somebody noted during this challenges phase that a lot of the times employers might just see us as the money people, and we want to change that. We're not just the money people. We're consultants. We're providing knowledge and services and not just checks. We are going to have a great panel on offering train the trainer and mentorship training to support apprenticeship employers with some of our incredible intermediary partners across the state who already have so many great train the trainer resources, because we understand that mentorship is at the heart of apprenticeship, and a program can ultimately only be as strong as those mentors are. And so we want to make sure employers have good mentors. And that's the webinar series so far. Along with everything you've heard today, this is I think, one of your second to last or last question. What other supports or professional development do you need or want? What can we do better? If I just need to talk less, that's fine. You can say that. My feelings will only be a little hurt, but that's all right.
And again, this isn't your last chance to tell us what you need. We feel like this is an open feedback loop that you all ask how we can support you to be more impactful. All right, it looks like we had at least one answer so far. And people are welcome to just speak up too here.
And feel free at any time to reach out and request supports from us. Like I said, my inbox is always open. That's ncarlson@niu.edu. Please, even if it's 2 a.m., I'm not going to respond, but feel free.
Antonio, can you read what the responses are?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Our responses have been standardized forms is the first one. This today is what we needed was the other one, a specialist collaborative. And the last one is hear from from an RA employer about the process and experience from them.
Oh yeah, definitely hearing from employers is so helpful. And then employers hearing from employers. All right, let me share my screen. Just final thoughts. you're part of something bigger. So maybe you're just working in your region, but it impacts the entire state. We're all working together towards the same goal. We hear, you're constantly having to bust myths like, oh, it doesn't work for us, things like that. It's for unions only. It's, we're just a mom and pop shop. We only need one apprentice, or I don't know what the things are, but can be beneficial for both an employer and the participant themselves. We want the consistent messaging. The language does matter, but we're also finding relationships matter more. So this is all about relationships. Success is local. One thing I've always heard from Tony Furman, he's always saying workforce development is a local, is a local thing. So, it's again done in those relationships local. You show up, stay persistent, and bring in the right people. It takes a village, and your integrated business services team is your village, as well as we are part of your village. Start with the willing, the early adopters help create that momentum. And then the partnerships build the systems. So start with the willing. And, some people may have said it today, that I've heard some of the apprenticeship specialists start with incumbent worker training just because that's the low hanging fruit is the willing. It's like we need to upskill our incumbent workers. So why not make them apprentices and then hire for those entry levels? So, start where it makes sense. And then just know we all share the one mission that we want to reach more employers. We're doing this because we want to expand opportunity for more people to be in apprenticeship programs. And so we're going to just open it up for discussion. Just one more time, anybody, just a little bit discussion, what's going on in your mind, something that you need. Any questions you may have. Antonio, we wanted to leave you with a video. So some of you may have seen this already. And it's on our apprenticeshipillinois.com website. But we'd like to share a video to leave with you as inspiration. And please drop it in the chat if you have any questions. But Antonio, can you bring up the video?
Absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you all for sharing, for coming here, for sharing, for being a part of this. I know it's not easy, and just sitting through this, much less doing the work, but we're all in this together, so I appreciate it.
All right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
So I'm from the south side of Chicago, the Washington Heights neighborhood. In that neighborhood, you have like a lot of fast food restaurants, stores, a lot of customer service-based jobs.
Morgan Arnold leaves her neighborhood every morning and heads to her apprenticeship at the Aon Center in the heart of Chicago's Loop.
I didn't do the best in high school, so I didn't think there was as many opportunities for me because of that. So immediately after school, I got a job. Started working in fast food.
Morgan wanted a meaningful career, but felt stuck in unfulfilling jobs until a friend told her about registered apprenticeships available through the local community college.
We recruit from our communities. So it's a diversity of not just the person, but of thought, of problem solving, of experience.
The Earn While You Learn apprenticeship model gives employers, like an insurance company such as Aon, access to hardworking talent, including Morgan.
I'm at an age where I need to do something that I do have passion behind, and that's always been helping people.
Apprentices are paid while going through training. As their skills increase, so do their wages. Many receive an associate's degree during the apprenticeship, and some go on to pursue a bachelor's degree.
When you're enrolling as a first-year student, you are also starting as an apprentice. The company has, in the case of Aon, a relationship from the very beginning with a talented person that they have made a conscious choice that they are going to invest in.
Support and other resources are available to employers who want to participate in apprenticeship programs all over Illinois, including in small towns like Paris, where Cody Miles grew up.
would say growing up in a small town was more difficult to get a job. So there's not many companies that you can get a good paying job in this area. When I graduated high school, I had a family friend that works here at NAL, and he had told us about the apprenticeship. It's a great paying job that also allowed me to get a degree and get education. My mom and dad, they never really went to college, so I was the first one to really get the degree.
I mean, if you can get college, a couple years of college paid for, and plus be able to have an agreement to work after that, that's huge.
Prior to working for NAL, I honestly just thought it was a factory that made lights. I didn't know what lights. Now that I work here, I kind of enjoy it more because I help make the lights, and then I get to see them on the road, and I'm like, hey, I know that car. I know what line that came off of.
In the next few years, we're going to start seeing people who have a wealth of knowledge retire, and so it's important to have that pipeline coming up.
I think that Cody is going to continue to grow here at the company personally because he's proven not only when the company is loyal to him, but he returns that loyalty to the company.
Yeah, I think I became more confident as I've been in this program. It has allowed me to buy a house, buy a car, provide for me and my girlfriend and our dogs that we have. I have siblings living with me, and I help them.
Like Cody at North American Lighting, Morgan at Aon is also a role model in her community.
My friends and family tell me they can see how happy I am. Like I'm able to do volunteer opportunities. I'm becoming more confident in myself and taking chances on myself. I have a career trajectory now. I have a stronger network of people, professionally and personally.
We have an 80% retention rate overall for our program, which is like 10% higher than our other early career programs.
We have been able to provide supports, best practices and such to other employers that have been toying around with the idea of launching their own program.
We have many more students, qualified students for apprenticeships than we actually have apprenticeship opportunities today. And that's why, we are really encouraging, employers to look at this, pipeline of opportunity because it really is fruitful.
And it helps our rural communities as well because we are working with these local community colleges. I think it's a win-win for everybody.
If your business is ready to train and retain skilled talent, visit apprenticeshipillinois.com today.
Thank you all. That video is on apprenticeshipillinois.com on the homepage. It's kind of like in the middle of the page if you go down. But this is what we're doing it for. So thank you all. Feel free to give us feedback, ask questions, anything. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone.